Hello everyone! I am Alice of KHR Arts and Cloud Orchid Publishing, and today I am going to talk about my convention cosplays. So first things first. Many of y'all have probably noticed that in these videos I am quite dressed down compared to what you'll probably see me looking like at a convention. And a big part of that is, the honest answer is comfort. Recording these videos, it's just a lot easier and a lot more comfortable for me to wear a simpler, comfier outfit. But when I'm at events and conventions, I love going all out, y'all. And a big part of my branding is doing those epic outfits and cosplays. A big part of convention culture in general, not just for authors, but literally any sort of convention, is dressing up. At a lot of conventions, you're going to see people dressed as video game characters and anime characters and movie characters and comic book characters and even stuff that has nothing to do with that kind of nerd culture. You'll see wild fashion outfits, you'll see rave wear, you'll see Lolita fashion, you'll see all that awesome cool stuff. And it's because convention spaces are kind of like this weird space where people feel comfortable being able to explore and being able to have fun with their physical appearance that in most everyday situations they wouldn't feel comfortable doing. And there are people where they actually make a living doing that. Professional cosplayers. Really awesome. They are usually the ones with the most epic cosplays at these events, and they are absolutely worth checking out. I personally have been cosplaying since about, I want to say, 2006. That is when I went to my first anime convention, ASEN, at the Rosemont Center. And since then, I have been on and off going to conventions for different reasons. At first, it was just for funsies, going to anime conventions and cosplaying and running around and shopping and having a blast and sitting in on panels, all that fun stuff. And then after that, it was going there to sell hats that I actually designed, selling hair accessories and hats and things along with other designers who sold their accessories, jewelry, and clothes and things like that. We went kind of as a group. And then in recent years, I have been going to sell my books and my art as an author and artist. And all throughout that, I've kept the common thread of cosplaying because, one, cosplay is fun, but then two, it's also a big part of my branding. That me as a person, I love to dress flamboyantly. It's just something that I've always done. Ever since I was a child, honestly. I would leave the house wearing princess outfits and tiaras and just all sorts of nonsense. I've always been a fan of not dressing typical. I've just always loved being very flamboyant and wearing flamboyant, sparkly, fun, outrageous things. It's just who I am. And I'm very unapologetic about it. And there are people on both sides of the fence. There are people that think that it is a really great strategy to dress flamboyantly, or at the very least dress uniquely in order to express yourself. And then there are the people that do very firmly believe that you need to dress professionally, aka wear like suits and blazers and blouses and vests and, you know, typical things like that. And there is no right or wrong way to brand yourself in that sense. If that's who you are, then absolutely go for that. But don't feel intimidated one way or the other, because thankfully in today's world that we live in, the playing field is pretty even on both sides of the fence, that you can be as flamboyant or as professional as you want to be. And just as a little disclaimer, being flamboyant does not mean you're not professional. It just means professional in the sense of that business attire look. But 100% being flamboyant, you are still a professional and should be respected and treated as such. And unfortunately, there is still a problem, usually with more of the old guard than anybody else, that do sometimes disrespect people who do choose to cosplay or at the very least dress flamboyantly at conventions. And you know what I say to them? Sucks to be you. You can't rain on my parade, and you shan't rain on anyone else's either, if I have anything to say about it. So yeah, how exactly did I get started with deciding, you know, I'm going to merge this with me being an author? The short answer is I'm like this 100% of the time, and me working as an author shouldn't be any different. And I'm very lucky in that my publisher felt the same. She thinks that my flamboyance is awesome and absolutely told me, be who you want to be and dress how you want to dress. And also, in addition to being traditionally published, I've also self-published books, which means that I am 100% in charge of what I want to do for that. So obviously going to dress how I want to dress. But I have talked about in my other videos about marketing and branding and things like that, that having a unique image, or at the very least have something uniquely attached to you, really helps with creating your brand and with creating recognition so that people know to look for you. I know some authors where they always wear a particular hat or a particular jacket, or they have a particular way that they dress, or maybe there's a particular persona that they inhabit when they're at conventions. Whatever the case, it's something that they utilize in order to stand out, and people identify with that, and that's what they remember and know to look for and associate with their books. And for me, I don't have one sort of uniform that I stick to, so much as I always tell people, look for the sparkliest, pinkest, most magical person in the room. It be me. It be me every time. And that's not to say that there aren't people with more epic cosplays than me, because oh my goodness, there certainly are. But if you are looking for the rainbow pink sparkle pony princess person, it be me. 100%. I'm kind of hard to miss. And that's the other part of it, is that it also physically attracts people. People can see me from across the convention hall, as long as it's not somewhere massive like ACEN or Gen Con. But if it's at a smaller ballroom sized convention, people will be able to see me from the doorway from across the convention hall, and a lot of people make a beeline for my booth simply because they're like, I don't know what's going on, but I need to be a part of this. I have literally had people tell me that so many times. And yeah, it's basically, you know, a bait to reel them in, get them into those books. And that is the hardest step as an author at a convention, is getting them simply to step up to your booth and be interested in your books and talk to you. That is the hardest part. So anything that you can do to make that part of the process easier, absolutely do it. And dressing how I want to dress and how I normally dress anyway, that's a piece of cake. That's not even something I have to really put a whole lot of consideration into doing. So it's a win for everybody. My style has evolved over the years, as one typically does. In my latest years, I've been really enjoying just creating very flamboyant costumes that also tie into my work as a Twitch live streamer, that whole e-girl live stream Twitch girl type of style. That's just really the vibe that I've been into lately, and my outfits reflect that. I also have created some very epic outfits, such as the ones that I created at Worldcon, but I typically only do that level when I go to really big conventions that are multi-day conventions like that, whereas if it's especially smaller events or a one-day event, I'll usually do what I consider a mid-level sort of outfit, just because oftentimes the logistics of travel and things like that make that difficult. Because at multi-day events, I will get a hotel room, and that just makes it so much easier that the days where I'm staying at the hotel room and can get ready in the hotel room and I don't have to get in a car and travel and schlep stuff, I can wear a far more epic outfit than I can when I'm trying to struggle doing load in and load out. So on load in and load out days, I always wear outfits that are more mid-level or more comfy level, just for the sake of comfort, personal safety, all of those logistics. So all of my outfits are carefully planned, in that I always make sure that my most epic outfits are on a Saturday, or if it's a bigger event like Worldcon, it'll be like Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, whatever have you, things like that. And planning out the outfits like that also makes it easier, in that I just have to be like, this is the outfit I'm wearing, and then just assemble. I don't have to sit and think about what do I want to wear, having to decide, having to assemble. It's just already picked out and ready to go, and that just makes my life so much easier. It's one less thing I have to worry about when you're doing a convention. There's a lot to worry about, a lot of moving parts going on with that, and if there's one less thing I have to be responsible for, the better. Now, being that level of fabulous does mean that does cause me a whole lot of extra planning, a whole lot of extra stress, a whole lot of extra discomfort, but it is a level that I am willing to put up with for the end result. Meaning that, yes, I have to put a lot of extra planning into planning out those outfits and assembling them and packing them and all of the logistics of schlepping them to and from the convention and all of that jazz. All of the extra time that I have to take in order to do my makeup and get styled and assemble the outfits, moving around in the outfit and all of that. But all of that is also a big part of who I am, so it's really not that big of a sacrifice for me. Whereas, I'm not gonna lie, schlepping hundreds of pounds worth of books in a cart is way more of a hardship for me than it is to get dressed up like a majestic beast. It's all relative. And as I always remind people, don't compare yourself to me. Don't watch this video and think that you need to go out and you need to create absolutely majestic, fabulous outfits in order to build your brand and get noticed as an author at conventions. That is so not the message here, y'all. Do whatever your comfort level is and also what is true to you and the brand you're trying to build. Like I said, this is just who I am as a person. I'm a very flamboyant person. So it makes sense for my branding to reflect that. If you're a very reserved person, it's going to seem very weird and very crazy that you've suddenly decided to do all these flamboyant outfits at a convention. And if that's something you want to explore, absolutely go for it. But the most important thing to reflect in your branding is being true to who you are and what you want to project. And people will know if you're uncomfortable with that. That whole fake it till you make it thing doesn't work if it has to do with something that is intrinsically you as a person. People can smell fakeness from a mile away. So make sure to keep that in mind, that there's a big difference between exploring new stuff and doing stuff just because you think it might work, but it is so far removed from your wheelhouse. So find somewhere more in the middle. But yeah, so I've always been a flamboyant person, and it's something that I really enjoy, in that I see myself as a full artist, in that I love creating things in many different mediums, in many different capacities, and part of that is my own body. I've worked as a model since 2008, and even before that I also worked as a child model for a brief amount of time. And I've also worked as a drag artist, and I work as a Twitch live streamer. I love putting on makeup, putting on wigs, building flamboyant outfits, creating just these visuals with my body. That is a big part of me expressing myself in an artistic capacity. So of course that's going to carry into the way that I brand myself as an author, the way that I brand myself as an artist, just in everything that I do. It all ties together, y'all. That is a big part of why do I dress like a pink sparkle crazy person at conventions? It's a big part of the reason why. It's who I am, and it's how I express myself. And of course, the last reason, which is another part that is intrinsically me and my life journey, is that life is short. And I am of the personal belief that because life is short, you should absolutely take it by the horns and live your life the way that you want to, within reason. We all have our limitations and we have to function within the capacity that we have, but dressing flamboyantly is not a hardship for me. It is something that I am able to do because I work from home, because I'm an artistic person, because I have a lot of avenues where I can have a time and a place to be able to do those things, and it makes sense. I love to dress flamboyantly and to be a flamboyant person, and I am very aware, due to things that happened in my past, that we only get this one life and that you should live it to the fullest capacity that you can. Contrary to the YOLO attitude, I personally do not condone that at all. Please don't. It's more about living your life the best that you can. And a big part of that for me is being true to myself and not feeling the need to hide who I am. There's a time and place for everything, of course, and there are a lot of days where I'm dressed like this. But there are also a lot of days where I take 3 hours to get dressed and do my makeup and I look fabulous. And I love every minute of it. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. And if you're new, subscribe. Alright, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.